I feel amazingly lucky. I'm not a particularly religious person, but sometimes it seems like it's more than luck that's kept me alive and going.
My name is Dr. Lucas Wortman. I'm an oncologist at Washington University School of Medicine in St. Louis, Missouri, and was diagnosed myself with leukemia in 2003. The type of leukemia that I actually have had is called acute lymphoblastic leukemia, which they call ALL in short. I've now been dealing with having leukemia for over a decade, and it's been an extremely long and hard road. Last year when I was diagnosed with my second relapse of leukemia, it seemed like I wasn't going to make it, that leukemia was going to take my life. And not only was I young, but I was also a leukemia doctor facing dying of leukemia. I'm not sure what kept me going at that point. I never gave up hope. I had tremendous faith in my doctor, Dr. DiPergio.
All right. So, how are you, actually?
And tremendous faith in my mentor, Dr. Lay, who studies the genetics of leukemia.
He was very, very ill in this last one, and it was hard to watch. It was very difficult for everybody. It was mostly difficult for him. What am I talking about? He was very, very sick, and we didn't know that he was going to make it. I think that anyone who has relapsed acute leukemia, especially relapsed ALL, has a high likelihood of dying.
Dr. DiPergio and I have a bit of an unusual relationship now, in the sense that I'm a leukemia doctor and he's a leukemia doctor.
I have to be careful what I recommend. I can't say start this drug. He'll say, well, you never did that with anybody else. You always told me it was a worthless approach.
So anyway, I don't think we need to do anything at this point.
We were out of options. And so Tim and I and Lucas all agreed that we were going to try to do what we do pretty well here, and that's sequence his cancer genome and see if we could identify specific mutations that were present in his cancer or leukemia genome that would be so-called actionable. In other words, find a mutation that we had a drug for. So what an amazing convergence of circumstances where a guy who works on leukemia genomes and who has leukemia is able to use the information to influence critical decisions at a critical point in his life where the information was absolutely essential to survive, just to survive. We don't do this as a fee-for-service. It's a study. It's an academic study. And so we bank samples so that we can sequence them later. In his case, there was no later. We knew that we had to do it immediately for it to be of value to him. We didn't see a smoking gun in his genetics. We saw some mutations, but nothing that we could act on, obviously.
But also we looked at the RNA from the leukemia tumor.
This one really stood out. This is the FLT3 gene, which was wildly overexpressed to levels that shocked everybody that was looking at the data.
This gene was targetable with a drug that was FDA approved for the treatment of other cancers.
We put him on this drug called Sutent.
I remember I started taking Sutent on a Friday, had my blood work drawn on Monday, and my blood counts had improved. And while it could have been coincidental, that was a real turning point for me, and in the sense of thinking, hey, this might be working.